It is Thursday, March 30th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who can most certainly benefit from a pitch clock, J.P. Shadrick.
Welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Thursday, and it is the off season. We've got a busy show ahead, though, for the next hour or so here on 1010 AM and Jaguars.com. We'll hear from Jeff Lageman coming up, Jaguars analyst. A review of the NFL annual meeting. We'll hear from Jaguars owner Shad Khan, who sat down with John Ogier at the Arizona Biltmore earlier this week. Doug Peterson, Jaguars head coach, had the AFC Coaches Breakfast on Monday. We'll hear some thoughts from the Jaguars head coach. We'll go around the NFL as well. We're on 1010 AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. And the podcast available on the free iHeartRadio app, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to find us, you can. We are all over the place. We're also on Twitter, at JP Shadrick, at Logs56. That's Jeff Lageman's handle. Hi, Jeff Lageman.
Hey, I should be saying hi to you.
How you doing, man? It's been a minute.
I'm doing good, yeah. It's been a minute.
I came out of the darkness retreat. I was gone for a little while.
You and Aaron hung out?
Yeah, no, it was by myself. And
Okay.
I got some things together, and now I'm back, baby.
Would you ever consider doing a darkness retreat?
Well, I mean, it seemed like the Rodgers one wasn't quite, as advertised. Like, you could turn on the lights anytime you wanted to. And they had food like room service. It wasn't like he was roughing it.
Yeah. I don't get that.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
who knows?
I was kind of having
who knows
conversation with somebody last week, and I was sitting there saying, I said, isn't sunlight really good for you? Vitamin D.
Well, if you're a vampire, then
darkness is sometimes, like if you look at the incidences of depression, the cities that don't have as much sun are where the highest incidence of depression is. So why would you want to put yourself in seclusion and darkness?
I don't know. That's a good question for him, but we're not covering the Packers or the Jets beat, thank goodness.
He needs a little sun is what he needs.
We've got plenty to get to in this show. We'll get to the Rodgers situation. What's the next step there? Lamar Jackson, all that coming up a little bit later in the show. But let's start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Imagine that. Jags owner Shad Khan doesn't have a lot of media interviews throughout the year. There's only a few times a year he speaks. One of those is normally at the NFL annual meeting, commonly known as the owners' meetings, that happened this week in Arizona. And he sat down with Jaguars senior writer John Ogier at the Arizona Biltmore in Phoenix this week. And the question was about the reaction of the Jaguars' success from other owners around the league.
I think we've cracked the code. We've got a great head coach, we got a great general manager, and we have a great quarterback. And that's the trifecta for success in the NFL.
And you're enjoying it. You've waited a while to have this feeling, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it's taken a while, but I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad for me. I'm glad for all the fans.
All right, so that's the owner, of course. There you have it. Yeah, head coach, GM, quarterback. That's the trifecta. They've cracked the code, he said. All right, that's a good start.
Well, you hope so, but sustained success is where you want to be at. You don't want to have 1 year. You had that back in 2017, and then the next year you just kind of fell by the wayside. I'm not saying that this team is going to do that. I think this team is going to be successful for a very long time because of the quarterback situation that they have, but that's what you're shooting for. And by the way, Shad Khan is, just dapper.
Yeah, if you watch that on Jaguars.com.
John Ogier, can we get him a clothing allowance?
Sponsorship. We need to work on this. Come on.
Yeah, but Shad looks good, man. He's sharp. And,
I think there were some travel issues. Their baggage got lost. There was something. That's the excuse.
Yeah.
Like they don't have clothing stores in Arizona.
Really?
I don't know what happened.
That is
there.
Truthful.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, so he's got.
You got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, Jaguars.com. You can see the whole interview.
The whole thing. I think it went up this morning.
Okay.
In fact, so check it out. Yeah, the full conversation, about 8 minutes or so. With Jaguars.
Did you lose your luggage?
I wasn't there.
Oh, you didn't get invited?
No.
Oh.
I was not invited yet again. It's okay, though. I'm not bitter about it at all. It's fine.
The accommodations at the Biltmore, from what I understand, are just a little bit plush.
They don't really hold those, no offense to the Motel 6, but at those kind of places, they're
Holiday Inns,
not quite.
Motel 6s, not going to happen.
No. They're, they try to alternate it. One time it's on the West Coast somewhere out there, usually in Arizona, and another time it's in Florida. They've had it at an assortment of places here in Florida, the Breakers in Palm Beach. They've had it at the Ritz in Orlando.
The common theme is warm weather.
Warm weather
Locations.
And nice accommodations.
Yes, and very nice accommodations.
Yes, usually a beach or some kind of outdoor area involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of sand in Arizona, but not much beach.
That's true. Good point. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, Jaguars.com. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Well, earlier in the week, Doug Peterson, Jaguars head coach, speaking at the meetings this week. The AFC Coaches Breakfast was Monday morning. Of course, a big season for quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and the head coach has high expectations moving ahead.
I truly believe that there's so much more for him, and he wants that, and he's willing to do what it takes to work, and that's what you want as the leader of your football team, right? And that rubs off on the rest of your team.
Yeah, so you start with a quarterback. That confidence is now year 2 in the system. They've added a weapon around him in Ridley. They got all the other guys back. They've spent some equity in the draft, obviously in free agency last year in the offensive line as well to bolster that. I mean, if they don't succeed offensively, it's not for a lack of trying and personnel and people around the quarterback.
Well, you still have to add components, and then the players that had success last year need to continue to build on their game. So you just don't assume, okay, well, Christian Kirk is going to be great again this year, and Etienne is going to be explosive again. I mean, you don't assume anything in this game. I think the one thing that's imperative to happen in this offseason, and it's specifically with Trevor Lawrence, the great teams have quarterbacks that have the ability to raise their level of play each and every year early in their career. And then once they reach a certain level, then it's about maintaining that level and still performing at that high level. But it's important for Trevor to be even more diligent and more hardworking this year to show his teammates that that's what it's all about, that that's what it takes, that's what it took last year, and that's what it's going to take this year. When the quarterback is your tone center with work ethic, you have great leadership. And if you need an example, look at the Tom Brady example. I mean, was he not one of the hardest workers in the offseason? The way he trained, the way he prepared, the way he worked with his teammates, he set the example. And if Trevor can do that, great things can happen, and he can take not only himself, but then he takes the people around him to a really high level. And that's where you achieve greatness, and that's where an individual can achieve greatness, is by being great himself, but then by pulling those around him to a higher level that they could not have achieved on their own.
Is that, hey, let's go to the high school field and throw a bunch?
It's whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
It's whatever it takes. Whether it's, hey, look, let's get together and watch some film.
Which they did that last year, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting together in some other location that you can.
The Bahamas, they did that last year, too.
Throw for 3 or 4 hours, and then the rest of the time you have some fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a tremendous opportunity for him in year 2. When I say year 2 under Doug Peterson, year 3 in his career, to where he can take others to a higher level, because that's the true greatness of leadership, is being able to elevate those around you. And that's what Tom Brady did for years. I mean, you look at the offensive line as an individual person. You look at the skill position players that he had. The greatest player he ever had was Randy Moss. And the year that they had together was, unbelievable.
Sure it was.
But then some of the other wide receivers that he had, they're not Hall of Fame guys.
They were system guys.
Well, they were called system guys, but the one thing they all had in common, those guys worked.
Sure.
Worked. They worked in the games. They worked in the offseason. And that's the kind of people, that's the kind of culture that you want to establish. And when you have the quarterback that is establishing that, man, does it make it easy.
But they worked to have that system down so cold. That was the work. every little nuance of the offense, they didn't miss a beat. They could find an opening in a defense. They could find something in a route that they had worked on in April that carried over, and that's what that's about. That's what the work is for.
Well,
and that's what's the next step for this offense, too. There might have been a few nuances of the offense first year in that maybe they missed a few things, a couple reads here or there. Well, now they can build upon that.
Well, you're trying to build, and then, I mean, it's just like you go to college. Okay, you have a college major. You start out in your 100-level classes, 200-level classes.
What was your major?
Economics.
Okay.
And then in your latter years of college, then all of a sudden you're starting to go to 400- and 500-level classes. You're starting to really dig deeper into some of the nuances and the principles of the subject that you're studying. And it's no different in football. I mean, you get to a certain level in a system. Okay, now this is year 2. Okay, now you're going to take a look at some of the 300-level classes, the 400-level classes, because a lot of the stuff that the time that you're spending now is not teaching the system and the plays. Now you're teaching some of the finer points. Hey, look, you know what to do, okay? But now when you do that, look for this, and you can expand and even have adjustments off of that because you're taking it to the next level.
What was your minor?
Football.
I thought it would be the other way around. Football major.
Well, JP, that's University of Virginia now.
Oh, I forgot. It's a learned institution of higher learning.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, by the way, did you know that Thomas Jefferson founded the University
I was aware,
of Virginia?
yes. That's right.
The NIL money, though, is killing UVA.
You all need to pony up, it sounds like, huh?
It's just,
some of the alums need to pony up, it sounds like.
I would love to see the difference of NIL money at the University of Virginia compared to the NIL money of Alabama. I know Texas Tech is like the highest.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think you want to see that.
I don't think so.
No.
UVA probably would pay NIL money for students, like for the academia.
That's what they did for you, right?
Yeah.
That's why you got in there, because of everything above the shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Hey, the Jags are locked in for 2023. The thrill of a win and electricity of the fans make game day at the bank an experience like no other. So join your friends, family, and fellow diehards and become a Jaguars season ticket member. The fun is here, and you don't want to miss out. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 and buy today. They are on sale now. In a moment, Doug Peterson needs more from Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen on defense. That's next on Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's here, Ford Truck Month. Come and get the best deals of the year on the only trucks built Ford tough. Drive home the rugged Ford F-150, part of Ford F-Series, America's best-selling truck 46 years straight and counting. But hurry in because these deals won't last forever. It's Ford Truck Month. Don't miss it. Come and get it at your local Ford dealer. Based on 1977 and 2022 calendar year total sales.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number 1?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
As the official dentist of the Jacksonville Jaguars, ASAP Dental is a champion of the dental game. Let them win you over with full-service dental care and the same-day smile you deserve. Open 7 days a week, ASAP Dental has 8 locations to serve you in the Northeast Florida area. So come see them today. With their exceptional experience and care, you're always treated as the MVP. Visit asapdentalcare.com or call 904-500-2727 to book your appointment today.
I'm Dr. Hughes, cardiovascular surgeon. The Florida Lottery has contributed billions of dollars to education, putting kids like me on the path to success.
And they've awarded countless Bright Future scholarships, helping me pursue higher education.
So I can do more than just dream of a brighter future.
I can create one.
The Florida Lottery is proud to help fund the futures of students all across our state. Learn more at flalottery.com/education.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Thursday. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman, and we continue with our review of the NFL annual meeting in Arizona earlier this week. Well, coming up in the next few weeks, we're going to move forward to the NFL draft preview. We're inside a month from the draft logs. That's unbelievable. It's almost, obviously April is coming up soon.
Well, it goes fast when your team's in the playoffs and doing well.
Right. You don't have an offseason.
Yeah,
right?
the offseason gets shorter, and then you're still kind of relishing the moment that you had in the playoffs, not even thinking about the draft, whereas when you finish the season with the worst record in the National Football League, the first thing you're starting to think about is how this team can get better in free agency, number one, and number two, the draft.
Especially when you have the number one overall pick 2 years in a row.
Yeah. It's going to be nice. We were actually just talking about this. It's going to be nice not to have the first overall pick in the draft, but then it's also going to require some further studying.
Which you like to do. You're good
to be
at
able
studying these guys.
to be able to, I think, to be able to talk eloquently about the prospects that may be available for the Jaguars at 24.
Well, here's what we're going to do for you, Logs. We're going to give you a head start over the next 3 weeks or so on this show, at least on Thursdays. We're going to dedicate some time to a different position group of need for the Jags.
Okay.
And we'll do that starting next week. How about that?
All right.
And we'll probably have some guests on that know a little better about the prospects. They're in it every day. Some draft guru type people might join us. So
you know what we should do?
Be ready.
To start it out, just because the quarterbacks, it's the hot, sexy topic, and we know that the Jaguars have no chance of drafting a quarterback in the first round.
Right.
We should start with the quarterbacks because of all the trade that's already happened with Carolina, the other teams that obviously are going to be picking quarterbacks and are quarterback needy. I think that makes sense to you. Doesn't it make sense to me?
Everybody's looking for a quarterback until they have one.
Well, in this team right here, can you imagine being in the position that the Indianapolis Colts were? You go from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck, and you think you're good for a decade. And then he decides he doesn't want to play football anymore, which is fine. I mean, that was his decision, and I respect the heck out of it. I mean, a guy walked away from $30, $40, $50 million a year for a decade. I mean, if you can't respect that, some people would say, how can you respect that? That's crazy.
He had money. He made some money. It's fine. But, and he's getting his brains beat in.
But here the Colts are. Who's their quarterback?
They don't know yet. They don't know. They do not know who it was going to be. We'll get to the
position you want to be in.
All right, well, I like that. We'll get to quarterbacks next week, and we'll talk corners, we'll talk defensive line, all that in the weeks ahead, and get some professional perspective on that from the outside as well. Let's continue from this week in Arizona and on to the defense now from head coach Doug Peterson. He was asked at the AFC Coaches Breakfast Monday, what needs to improve the most on the defensive side? It's an easy answer.
And it all starts up front, putting pressure on the quarterback. And whether we're doing that with 4 guys or 5 guys. You want to see Trayvon take that next step in year 2. You want to see Josh come along again as an edge rusher, and really in his 5th year, make an impact, with the team. And we're confident that both those guys can do that. We were excited to extend Roy, and get him back. And I think the Fotokasi is a guy that can really make another step in the right direction within the scheme. And so the pieces are there, and now it's just a matter of continuing to coach and improve in all areas.
All right, so the last couple years they've spent a lot of equity, draft equity, free agent money on the defensive line and the pass rush possible solution. They haven't really found that solution in the big picture yet. So help's not on the way this year, it feels like. They didn't spend anything in free agency on it, really big money on it. They extended
it's not
Roy.
over, JP.
I'm just telling you, frontier free agency.
Yes.
It's not coming. So you got to lean on those first-round picks. Josh Allen, year 5, contract year, let's go.
Well,
and then Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall pick.
You need to get improvement from within, but then you also need to get healthy from within. Fotokasi is a perfect example.
Yeah.
I mean, really wasn't available much last year, and also finding his best position also would be helpful. Is that a nose tackle position? Is that a 3 technique? I think his perfect position is as a nose tackle. And if you can get improvement from Devin Lloyd, Trayvon Walker, Chad Muma, maybe one of your young corners all of a sudden takes a big step forward, can be a contributor. Safety, having to continue to get improvement out of your young first-round or second-round pick from a couple years ago from Syracuse. Cisco, having him get even better. I thought he made significant steps last year as the season went on. But that's what you got to have. But as I said before, it's not over yet. I mean, there's still an opportunity for this team to get better. Now, the market's starting to kind of dry up a little bit. When I say dry up, from two perspectives. One, from the standpoint of the talent is starting to dry up, but there's still some out there.
Yep.
And number 2 is that dry up means is that there's not as much money available to the people that are left. So there's an opportunity to bring in guys on a 1-year prove-it deal that they want to go back in another market next year. And
which they've done in the last couple of weeks, a week or so. They've added a couple.
They've added some guys, and some of those guys, you go, who are they?
Right.
Okay, I don't want to say they're roster fillers, but they're going to be role players. Okay.
Yeah.
With this football team, so that's what needs to happen. But first and foremost, if you're not getting better from your draft, then you're going to have a tough time of it because you don't have the kind of money. Because you've spent the money last year. I think last year was like a record $323 million worth of contracts or something like that last year. So you spent a ton of money last year. You've restructured some guys. There's still some opportunity to restructure more guys or to extend guys, Evan Ingram.
Yep.
That helps your cap situation out.
Still got to sign your draft picks when they come in.
And I think what do you need, like $7 to $10 million or somewhere in that range for your rookie class.
Yep.
And here's the one thing that you just have to kind of keep in the back of your mind while you're looking at spending money is that you cannot do anything to jeopardize the future of the big money that's going to be going to Trevor Lawrence.
Which could be in the next offseason.
So you have to be mindful of where your cap is at in the really not too distant future.
How does Trayvon Walker take a step? What does that feel like for the former number 1 overall pick?
Well, I think number 1 is that you need to figure out where he's going to be best at. And that's I think a coaching staff decision where they're going to have to look at it and say, hey, look, what's the best position that he can help us win? Is that focusing on one position? Is that playing multiple positions? Is that inside, outside? Does he need to gain weight? Does he need to lose weight? I mean, all of those things I think are on the table to find out what role does he provide the best impact for this football team. I think his best position would be more in line with a defensive end in a 4-3 type of system. But this team has been running a 3-4 system. Could they tweak it a little bit and maybe run a little bit more 4-3 principles? I mean, if it's good for the team, okay, then you maybe look at that. What's the best position for Devin Lloyd?
Right.
There's another one.
Yep. Another first-round pick.
Can you do more with him as far as having him be more of an edge presence with this defense instead of being an in-control linebacker that's in a 2-point stance 4 yards deep?
Trying to cover guys down the field, too.
And look, he's got to be able to do that, but the percentages of doing that versus lining up on the line of scrimmage and maybe being a guy coming off the edge, maybe you want to find a way to be able to do some of that with him more. So those are the questions I think that this coaching staff went into the offseason. One, self-evaluation, and then number two, now where do we go from here? I guarantee you that was at the top of their list.
The draft and develop philosophy is, you can draft them, but the develop is the part of it too. These guys have to go get better on their own.
Well, and that's what you say there is true. When you say get better on their own, because they're prohibited from working with the coaching staff at this point. The collective bargaining rules apply. And there are ways that players can go and get better. There's tight ends that gather in the offseason, and they get together and work out and kind of have what they call tight end U or something like that. Defensive ends, I know Von Miller gathered a bunch of guys, pass rush U or whatever they called that. Going and learning from guys that did it for a long period of time at a high level, have taken an opportunity, maybe talk to some of the greats of all time and spend some time with them. Going back and maybe even working with your college coach, working out with your college to get into the best physical shape that you can prior to coming in for the off-season workouts. I mean, getting better physically, getting better mentally, improving your diet, reshaping your body, training your body. There's so many different ways to get better, and it's at the league has advanced so far in a short amount of time. When I say short amount of time, to go back into the late 80s in the league, guys just kind of worked out a little bit in the offseason at their home, and then they got real serious about it when they kind of came in for camps. And then Jimmy Johnson came in and became a year-round thing. And now it's guys are hiring trainers to work out from the end of the season until they can get together into April, personal trainers, working out at high-end fitness-type places. And then once you get together, then it's all about ball and working out here at the facility because, number one, why would you risk working out anywhere else getting hurt and then you don't get paid? That's one thing I never figured out.
A lot of guys roll the dice, though, on that.
That's insanity. Why would you take that risk? A lot of guys work out on their own. If they get hurt on their own, they're on their own.
But you can't work out with the quarterback and all that stuff on a field here, though. So you can't any of that stuff. You have to be away.
Yes, but
the weight room and all that, you can be here.
Correct. Yeah. But you still have what I mean by that, JP, is that some guys choose not to come to the voluntary on the field days.
Yeah, right.
And then they want to do some of that on their own. When they do that on their own, then
they're on their own.
Then they're on their own if they get hurt. And then it would have what would be classified as a non-football injury where they could potentially not get paid. Whereas if you get hurt while you're working out here at the facility doing a team drill of some kind, then the risk goes to the team if the player gets hurt.
It's Jaguars Happy Hour. We're on 1010XL AM and Jaguars.com. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and Daly's Place kicks off another unforgettable season, April 14th. That's 2 weeks away from country superstar Kenny Chesney. Music lives here at Daly's, and they've got something for everyone. Old Dominion, Tedeschi Trucks Band, Yellow Card, Wu-Tang Clan, and Nas, and much more. For a full list of shows and to get tickets, visit dailysplace.com. Expansion of short weeks with Thursday night football flexing. It's on the table for the owners. Is it good? Is it bad? I say yes and yes. That's next on Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Ready to go nuts? Fresh, hot, salty, boiled peanuts. The roadside stand flavor that made the South famous is now available at all Jaguars home games. Luray Peanut Company puts a little South in your mouth with the briny perfection of their original recipe or peppery kick of their authentic Cajun recipe. Packed with protein and superfood nutrition, they're the MVP of snacks. Get them at the game or from your grocer's freezer and enjoy them at home. Go Jags, go Luray, go nuts.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
I'm Dr. Hughes, cardiovascular surgeon. The Florida Lottery has contributed billions of dollars to education, putting kids like me on the path to success.
And they've awarded countless Bright Future scholarships, helping me pursue higher education.
So I can do more than just dream of a brighter future.
I can create one.
The Florida Lottery is proud to help fund the futures of students all across our state. Learn more at flalottery.com/education.
When Jaguars news breaks, you'll hear about it first on 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, Thursday afternoon. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We're on 1010 AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The podcast on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Jacksonville Jaguars. Also on Spotify and iTunes. And hit us up on Twitter at JP Shadrick, at Logs56. Well, we continue with the conversation out of the NFL annual meeting, and this is one of the, obviously, the big major meetings of the offseason for the ownership, but they have multiple meetings throughout the year. But this is one where they vote on new playing rules, a few things around the league as well. And there's a few that stood out this time.
Okay.
A lot of them passed. Some of them were tabled for later discussion. But the one that really stood out was Thursday Night Football flexing. It was on the docket during the annual meeting this year, and the possibility of expansion of short week games for each team, that actually passed. So there's a maximum of 2, and so you can have multiple normal Thursday Night Football games in a season. But the Thursday Night Football flexing idea was tabled until the May meetings. And basically, you would have a 15-day window. You'd have to flex it 15 days before the actual game, and then you could move a game off Sunday to Thursday.
Yeah,
and there's two for me. Let's start with this. I get the player side of it. It's horrible to be moving games around in an extra short week and player safety, and guys may not be ready off a Sunday. That's a quick turnaround once in a year, and then obviously you do it a couple times, then you're up against it again. So I'm not a huge fan of it from that regard. But from a fan viewing perspective in December, when the games really matter, and, hey, you want a better Thursday night game, I'm kind of for it if you're into just the viewing portion of this thing.
Well, what they're trying to do is to keep from having a snoozer in December on Thursday night and to make the Thursday night package more attractive, hence more valuable to Amazon, and then also more valuable to whoever buys it into the future. And I totally understand it. But it's very difficult to ask a football team and a fan base that they're making plans for a Sunday game. For example, let's say the Jaguars were getting ready to face the Tennessee Titans, and all of a sudden it was a division game, which that division game in December might determine a huge situation within the division. Well, they say 2 weeks before, hey, we're going to make that a Thursday night game instead of being on Sunday. Well, what happened to all the people that may have made plans to attend that game in Jacksonville or in Nashville, wherever it was, on a Sunday? Now all of a sudden they have to maybe look at changing plans and making it happen on a Thursday. That's hard to do. And gate revenue is obviously very important, but TV revenue probably exceeds the gate revenue, especially when it comes to a league-wide standpoint, TV revenue. And the Giants owner, I believe it was Mr. Mara, was one of the ones that spoke vehemently against it, and he said we can't do that to our fans. Roger Goodell kind of softened that a little bit by saying that we have to be able to look at it from the TV audience perspective as well. And look, I get it. I think that is an interesting situation. I don't like the possibility of flexing something that quickly from a Saturday or a Sunday to a Thursday. It just doesn't work for me. If you wanted to flex it to where you move it a time slot, have at it. Have at it. I mean, what's wrong with doing that? Okay, but to make a team potential, let's say you had a West Coast trip on a Sunday, and then the league flexed you because of this matchup. They did it 14 days ago, so now you're flying back, and they flexed your game the one the week's coming up. So you're landing at 3, 4, 5 a.m. in Jacksonville, and then you're trying to turn around and play a game on Thursday night that might be on the road.
See, I would like to think that the league would take all that into consideration and be somewhat
JP, if they were taking all that into consideration, they would take all of that into consideration about moving it just from Sunday to a Thursday, regardless of any of that.
Right.
I mean, so when you say that, well, they should take that into consideration. Well, they're not taking it into consideration about having the fans be penalized, having the teams be penalized because it's an attractive game. We want to make the Thursday night package more attractive to a national audience. So I mean, they're by saying that they want to do that. That's not really saying that they would consider that.
Right. So it's tabled until another meeting in May, in which they could probably vote on it.
Typically, what the league will do is on something like this that can be viewed as controversial, because it can be viewed as controversial from a fan standpoint.
Let's wait till the Players Association gets involved, if they do.
Is that they throw it out there to kind of test the waters a little bit, and hold their finger up to see which way the wind's blowing a little bit. And then they kind of let it simmer for a little while. And for two reasons. One, to see how the reaction would be. Number two, to maybe let the idea kind of settle on the minds of those that follow the NFL and the fan base and the teams and the coaches and the players, and then maybe circle back to it so that when you go back to it, it's not such a complete and utter surprise if something were to pass.
Couple of other changes of note, one of those impacting the Jaguars pretty quickly here, and that was the adoption of the number 0 as a jersey option. Calvin Ridley, the first in the league to announce he's changing to number 0, or using it for the first time as a Jaguar. He announced it with the team immediately after the results were announced after the voting, and he will wear number 0 for the Jags. It's been a while since there's been number 0 in the NFL. The most famous was 00, Jim Otto, right?
Yeah, no, by far. It's cool that they have allowed the flexibility with the numbers. And I know Tom Brady spoke against it a couple years ago, and I don't quite get his argument about from a quarterback standpoint. It's hard to figure it out. Look, you figure it out. You adapt and adjust. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, in my opinion, on a quarterback. But the 0 number, I think, is unique. And I'm wondering, did they allow other Jaguars the opportunity to have first dibs on the 0?
I'm going to tell you, I mean, it came out so fast after the announcement of all these changes that I don't know. I doubt it.
Do you like 0?
I didn't at first when it changed to college a couple years ago.
I like it.
But what do I care? Does it matter? No. We're still going to play the game.
It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
But you better play well if you're wearing a 0.
The one I don't like in college is single digits on defensive linemen. That one bothers me. I don't like that.
Well, because it makes them look fat.
I'm not a fan. It does.
It does.
But,
I don't understand the single digits.
There's something about
the defensive line.
Wrong.
But 0 is great. I hope Calvin Ridley represents it well. He'll be in a very unique situation. He's going to be the first Jaguar in history to wear the number 0. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and it's already out there. I don't know of any other teams that have officially announced it yet. So
the other news.
Kudos to the social media team for the Jags who helped get that out pretty quick too, and the design folks, everything.
The rugby scrum is going to continue.
Yes, it is.
That was also came out, the Philadelphia Eagles, and they should not have changed that rule. I know they were talking about it. And
you think it's okay?
Some of the people that are on the competition committee that are talking about this play being a higher risk of injury.
I mean, in theory, here's their argument. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. You've got
JP, who got hurt this past year because of that play?
Nobody. But in theory, you've got a quarterback who's 225 pounds in the middle of 4 big defensive linemen, 4 or 5 offensive linemen, all crunched in together, and then he's getting pancaked from behind by a running back or 2 or 3, whatever. And he's in the middle of all that.
How many quarterbacks got hurt doing that?
None this year that I know of, that I watched. I didn't see.
It's a minimal contact. When I say minimal contact, there's bodies that are making contact, but it's not a high speed, a distance apart contact. Well, because it's kind of everybody's packed into a very tight area.
So here's the next step of it, right? If the quarterback is exposed somehow, like on top of the pile, is he fair game? He's a runner.
Damn right.
So at some point, somebody's going to take a shot at a quarterback in that situation.
Look, he's got to be able to make sure that he runs it in a smart fashion. They've got to make sure that they protect and teach their quarterback to protect himself.
Well, this is also coming from the guy who chase down quarterbacks for a living.
Well,
right?
Look,
that's your view.
Look, I'm one of the guys that have said that I believe that they should protect the quarterbacks. I believe that. I liked a lot of the rules that were reasonable. Now, some of them that were unreasonable, some of the hits that were penalized, and I know part of the discussion at the league meetings was to make the hits on quarterbacks reviewable.
Yeah, I hate that.
Because there were some hits this past year that were just ridiculous that were called roughing.
So they do that, they're going back to the pass interference reviewable thing. It's a judgment call. You can't review judgment calls.
JP.
That are
JP.
You can't.
You saw the same plays that I'm talking about.
You cannot review pass.
That
you can't
were
review
called
pass interference,
roughing, and they were embarrassing calls.
You can't review roughing. Can't do it.
Well, I think they should make it reviewable, because when a guy's instant reaction is that, oh, he got hit, and he throws the flag just out of reaction because, oh, it's the quarterback. Well, that doesn't necessarily make it a foul. I think that should have been reviewable, in my opinion, because it goes beyond judgment, because a lot of times the official throws it out of a reaction.
Anticipation almost.
It really does.
Right.
Instead of, let me look at that play and then, no, it's okay, or that was a foul. It was almost as soon as contact's made, because the league has almost ingrained in a lot of the officials' head, protect the quarterbacks, protect the quarterbacks, protect the quarterbacks. If they don't throw a flag, they view or are concerned that they may get downgraded. Anyway.
Also, one more. We are back to one preseason roster reduction date after the final preseason game. They used to have multiple cut downs from 90 to 85, 85 to 80, then 80 to 53. Now it's from 90 to 53 after the final preseason game. That's official now.
Yeah, and then obviously the practice squad gets filled in. So, I mean, even though you look at 90 and 53, it's really not that dramatic. It really goes from 90 to 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range, because you're going to have guys that go on injured reserve. You're going to have guys that go to the practice squad, and some that will be on the non-football injury list, or et cetera, that will still be there. So it's not as dramatic as 90 to 53.
And that'll help out, obviously, in the last preseason game. Your starters aren't going to go, hey, guys, this is your chance to get some tape.
Yeah, bodies, and look, I think it's great. I mean, why not continue to allow some of these younger players to get snaps, to continue to have an opportunity to show what they can do. I like the single cut as opposed to the graduated cut. But it's going to be I will tell you that whenever the cuts happened, it was always dramatic, no matter what the step was. When you went down to that final number of 53. It's a dramatic change in the locker room, because you go from 90, all of a sudden, even though you have 16 practice squad, that's a pretty dramatic change, because a lot of times those guys are in another locker room now. We're in another locker room, but it's very different.
We're back in a moment. We'll go around the National Football League and a look at the Miller Electric Center and Logs. We're going to talk art.
Art?
Art. A-R-T. Art.
Art, and give me a little bit of a...
It involves the Miller Electric Center.
Oh.
When we come back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
It's here, Ford Truck Month. Come and get the best deals of the year on the only trucks built Ford tough. Drive home the rugged Ford F-150, part of Ford F-Series, America's best-selling truck 46 years straight and counting. But hurry in, because these deals won't last forever. It's Ford Truck Month. Don't miss it. Come and get it at your local Ford dealer. Based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty. Offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
I'm Dr. Hughes, cardiovascular surgeon. The Florida Lottery has contributed billions of dollars to education, putting kids like me on the path to success.
And they've awarded countless Bright Future scholarships, helping me pursue higher education.
So I can do more than just dream of a brighter future.
I can create one.
The Florida Lottery is proud to help fund the futures of students all across our state. Learn more at flalottery.com/education.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else. Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Jacksonville Sports Talk for Jacksonville sports fans. 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, and if you're watching on Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, it's a live look outside at the Miller Electric Center. We are closing in on move-in day for the Jaguars. July 1st is still the scheduled date to get the keys to the building. The practice fields have the... what do you call the watering? How do you do the irrigation?
There you go.
That's the word I'm looking for. All that's in, and they're about to put thank you. The grass is coming soon. They're going to start growing that, and then they'll have training camp out there in July.
Pretty impressive facility. I can't wait to see it once the doors open up.
I walked through it a couple weeks ago. Pretty cool. Big.
Yeah.
Large.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the stands are great. It's going to be beautiful. And also
shaded
stands. Shaded balconies for the offices for the coaches and all this. I mean, it's and the indoor is huge too, by the way.
Yeah, really nice.
So that's coming very soon. Now, this week, the Cultural Council of Greater Jacksonville and the Jags announced the artists that have been selected for the Miller Electric Center project. So the goal is to infuse public art into the design. And the partnership was announced back in September. More than 150 artists from around the world answered calls put forth by the Cultural Council for this. And they were representing 25 states and 9 countries. And 6 artists have made the cut for different parts of the project around or on, in one instance, the Miller Electric Center. Aisling Miller McDonald of Jacksonville will create a steel sculpture, and it represents various aspects of community, and that'll be outside of the Miller Electric Center. Castro Solano of Spain will have an illuminated sculpture of a jaguar head. That's going to be south of the public lobby. That'll be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Will Dubois of Missouri, 4 sculptural goalpost-shaped bike racks for fan use. Timothy Smith of California will produce a mural for the north exterior facade of the indoor practice facility. That's over 400 feet wide.
That's a lot.
It's a big mural.
That's a lot of space.
I don't know how long it's going to take him.
What do they call that? What do they call like an artist what he draws on?
Canvas?
Yeah, it's a lot of canvas right there.
Yeah, right. It's a lot of paint.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Arlen Graff of Ohio will have 2 murals on vinyl for the fan amenity grandstand area, and Das of North Carolina will do an additional mural on vinyl for that area as well. So a lot going on there. And you can check out everything on Jaguars.com if you haven't seen the photos.
That'll be
or the renderings.
That'll be impressive. It's great that they're doing that. I mean, art is a beautiful thing, and I hope that they also have a place in there to show the history of the franchise.
Yeah.
Some of the pictures and stuff from the early days, because I think history is important.
You're going to need a space for a Lombardi trophy as well at some point.
That would be great.
Or 2.
That would be great.
Not asking too much. Just saying, leave some space. Yeah. Deer heads on the wall.
No.
Is that part of the broadcast area?
No.
It's not?
No, that's not what you're looking for. But you're like a bust of Tony Baselli that's kind of replica of the Hall of Fame.
There's not a building big enough for that.
Some of the pictures from the early days, the names that are on the inside of the stadium, to have kind of tributes to them in kind of what I would call the Jaguars Hall of Fame kind of area or something of that nature would be cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. What's the Lageman area you're going to have in it?
There's no Lageman area.
There's not no.
No.
The deer head. That's what you're going to have.
No.
Let's go around the National Football League now, Logs, and bring it on home. 2 different bids on the table for the Washington Commanders, each at $6 billion. There could be another one on the way as Jeff Bezos next to bid on the team. Hey, $6 billion, at least as a base starting line for this team.
Well, the the reports are that there's one bid. Okay, there's a lot of reports that are saying that there's two that are at $6 billion, but the financing supposedly is not in place for one of those two. Okay, bidders.
Just the whole point of a bid is to have the financing to support it. Yes.
You got to have league approved when it comes to the finances. And I'm sure that Daniel Snyder would love nothing more, even though it's been reported that he doesn't want to sell it to Bezos because of the long-standing rivalry between Daniel Snyder and the Washington Post, which is owned by Jeff Bezos, who also owns Amazon, by the way. But, he would love to have Bezos come in and make an offer of $6.5 or $7 million, whatever it may be. I'm just glad and hopeful that this saga and the Washington Commanders history / Redskins history can be put into the past, because it has been kind of an embarrassing stretch and a little bit of a stain on the National Football League, the situation in Washington.
Calais Campbell signing with the Falcons. He said, quote, "It really came down to where I felt like I could have the biggest impact both on and off the field."
What are you doing?
Marvin Jones Jr. back with the Lions. He has he spent a lot of his time there, of course, before the Jaguars. But Calais made a visit through here reportedly the other week, and then went on a vacation, came off the vacation, and he'll be in hot Atlanta.
Look, I would have loved to have had him back here just because he's an exceptional person. Excellent football player, but most importantly, exceptional person. Love having him around. Special, really is. But wish him nothing but the best. Will always be a fan of his no matter what uniform he wears.
Just have to beat him this year. Falcons are on the schedule, aren't they?
I don't know. Are they?
I think they are.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that he went to Atlanta. Who's their quarterback?
They just signed a guy. They just signed somebody for pretty good money, too.
Their quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay, JP.
They did. I'm just telling you, they did.
Do they have a franchise quarterback?
No.
Exactly. And so if you're Calais, why?
Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder.
He was the rookie last year.
Yeah. He's a starting quarterback.
And he's not a starting quarterback.
That's what they just named him, the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
They did.
For now, because they don't have anybody else.
Heineke's there. Heineke's who I'm thinking of. That's who they just signed.
Taylor Heineke from the Commanders.
Yeah.
And he couldn't hold a job down in Washington. So they don't have a quarterback situation. That's why I was surprised that he went there. I figured that he would go to some type of contending team, whether it be here, Buffalo, back to the Ravens. But with the situation with Lamar Jackson being really up in the air and questionable, I don't know if the Ravens are a viable candidate.
New playing surface installed at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. There's been some widespread criticism over the last few years of the surface. It's improved synthetic turf, a field turf core system. So 5 49ers suffered lower body injuries in a same game against the Jets back in 2020. Ravens cornerback Kyle Fuller tore his ACL there week 1 last year. That's also where DeJuan Smoot tore his Achilles at the end of last season on Thursday Night Football.
That's right. Yeah,
so they've changed the whole field.
Well, and I hope it's a great service. I wish every team in the league had natural grass, but I know that that's not an option for some because, especially like in New York where you have New Jersey, where you have multiple teams and events that are going to be on and in that stadium. So it's just it's not a realistic approach. But there are really, really, really good synthetic surfaces, and I hope that every team in the league gets it squared away. Look, there's the situation that was, in Arizona for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Slipping and sliding.
That's not good.
No.
Just because you had the humidity levels that increase as it gets darker, and then all of a sudden guys are on ice skates everywhere around. I mean, you can't fix that.
And I guess they kept it inside too long. That's what field you can actually pull outside to the natural sun, but they brought it in apparently a little too early and the water just stayed on it.
Yeah, and they kind of
not that I'm
underplayed the surface after the fact. Oh yeah, it was fine. No, it wasn't fine. It shouldn't have been in that type of situation at all. If it's a Super Bowl, the field should be impeccable, and it was not.
Thanks to our entire crew, Brent Reber on the video side, Joe Fortunato on the audio side, social media, all the design folks, everybody behind the show each and every week. For Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. Thank you for watching.